I also blame Tinder because I think there are a lot of dudes that don't want to get married because if you're not married, it's not cheating.
What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be reacting to a video titled "Feminists Don't Have Husbands Because They Give It Up Freely." Let's go ahead and get right into this video. Make sure you guys don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So here we go.
All right, we're going to take you back to a topic that we started talking about before the commercial break when Josh Earnest rudely and deliberately interrupted the Outnumbered program about how the number of kids being born to unmarried cohabitating couples is at a record high in the United States. Okay, Dr. Manny, couples not marrying, shacking up, having babies, why?
It's every day in our practices. You know, I deliver babies for a living, and I see this, you know, it's a quarter at least of patients that we see every day in many, many hospitals in the country. Why is it happening? Well, for a lot of times it's cultural. There are many people coming to this country where that is a norm, where people meet, they get together, they want to have a baby, and bingo, they come back here, they don't think about the marriage thing.
First, I'm thinking, what countries is he referring to? Because Eastern, like European culture, like African culture, like it's very traditional where it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's very like, first comes love, then marriage, then children, and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's why I'm surprised. I'm like, where is he referring to exactly? Because if you're coming from there, here, like, it's mostly traditional. And
I think that that's probably a problem. You know, the comparison in the study looking at unmarried mothers decreasing, well, that's a trend that, of course, has been going on since teen pregnancy rates have come down. So I know the statistics are going down. But this new philosophy sometimes is the way people were brought up, but also is because, in my opinion, the whole concept of marriage, whether it's, you know, heterosexual marriage or homosexual marriage, whatever the case may be, is really something that people are not paying attention. The concept of fidelity is something that is being lost.
All right, so what are your thoughts on that? He's saying that people are not paying attention to it, but in reality, do people want that nowadays? Like, do people want to get married, especially from a man's perspective, right? Because you look at the court system and different laws and things of that nature. I mean, to be honest, if you're not having kids, it's really not in a man's best interest, in my opinion, to ultimately get married. But what are your thoughts on that?
No, but like even for women too, like they're just like, I don't want to be a housewife. I don't want to be stuck at home, like just not having any freedom and whatever, right? Because they equate like being like a wife for some modern women, obviously not all, but like for some they'll think like, okay, if I'm a wife, I have to be at home with the kids. Like there's no, my life is over kind of thing. Like I just have to stay in the house and then that's it. That's my life. So a lot of them are kind of like drifting away from that, being like, I see how men are, and like they have such an advantage of like all they have to do is work and they get all the freedom and all the options. Like, all right, I'm gonna go that direction and I'll just be on myself and work, make money, and then that's it. So I find for women, that's what I hear too, like from that side. So to me at least, it's both sides that are like, I'm not feeling marriage. And on top of it, obviously with the divorce rates and things like that being like 50% chance of it working out, 50% chance it may not, like it's very risky. So yeah. Yes,
from a woman's perspective, it's almost like a death sentence if she is having children and staying at home. You know what I mean? Like for some weird reason, she feels like she's oppressed and the man is holding her back. When in reality,
like that's what media is like, especially with like the feminist stuff and whatnot. Like it's just like they're pushing freedom, right, for women and obviously liberation, all that kind of stuff. So they're like, okay, for you to feel that, like the feeling of being free and whatnot, you can't be married, or you like maybe you can focus more on your career, so then it gives you more options, more freedom.
There was a story in the New York Times the other day that there are buses in France now promoting this website about women, you can have an affair if you're married, and we have that here in the U.S. too. And the French government will all up in arms because, oh my God, you know, under the French Constitution, marriage is something very sacred. Of course, they don't follow it that much anymore. But be that as it may, and people see that as a point of expression, it's not. It's the whole thing is that marriage into itself has becoming more difficult for people to accept. And I think that that's what we see in these statistics.
I think that's absolutely right. And if you look at the statistics, Harris, men specifically are opting out of marriage. I mean, this is a term that's been dubbed by Breitbart as the sexodus.
Obviously, for the people who are doing it successfully, who are the 50% that are like having a happy, like loving marriage, whatever, or who are still in it, like for them, it worked for them. So I think it's good to also look at like there's both sides to the story, right? There's a 50% chance that it could fail and you can have the negative experience, or there's a 50% chance that it could actually work out very well for you too. So it's important to look at the people who have these strong examples of like, we've been in it for 20 plus years and I'm staying with this person, and like I'm like ride or die for this person kind of thing, right?
But how many examples do you see nowadays?
It's not
especially in the West.
No, but it's not going to be perpetuated in media. They're going to show you all the negative stuff, like the Brittany Renner or whatever, because it's money, right? Like it's going to be it's all about attention nowadays, right? So if that kind of story is going to give attention to, you know, whatever negative situation it is, that's what they're going to put out. That's just what it is. But there are again 50% of marriages that are successful or who are still together. Maybe even if it's not like as successful, whatever that may look like to other people, but they're still together and they're still working it out for themselves. So it's about family, right? Like that's the whole point of marriage. Even what he said with like the French like culture is that marriage is seen as something very like
sacred,
very sacred, right? Like it's very strong religious views like in.
So let me ask you this, like what law would you like to see changed or adjusted or altered to maybe incentivize men to get married that are not looking to have kids? Let's just say they want to get married, they want to do the right thing. What law do you think should be changed or put in place for a man to want to do that?
That's a big question. I'm not like I don't know too much of the law though.
Just from the top of your head, just from the content that we review and you know the different examples that we see. What do you think men today are saying, I want to change this?
I would say just on the financial front, I think that's the number one thing that I think is common with all the things that we see.
Which is a big thing.
Yeah, of course, right? Like one of the biggest thing is the financial liability that can come with this if it goes left, right? So it's more of just having like a balance of protection on both sides. So of course, women with children, they have their protection now, but men who have, you know, who are supporting and giving whatever, like there needs to be more of a balance of like the financial situation. That's what I would say in regards to exactly what type of rule or law to put in place. I don't know that, but yeah, I would like to see the balance between that. Like
you said, changing the laws where financially it's balanced, right? I would even say changing the laws, you know, for child support and things of that nature, right? A child doesn't need $15,000, $20,000.
I never understood
$200,000 to support a child. Obviously, the woman is taking, you know what I mean? It's taking a cut from that money, right? So it's just unfair.
No, I don't, like just even go back to that, like other stories that we hear of, like even like Brittany Renner, Dr. Dre, whatever. Yeah. Like all that money, and I'm assuming it's not all child support. Part of it is alimony to pay to the spouse, whatever.
It's all tied in. Yeah.
How much do you need to live on?
Right.
Just as a human basic needs, like. Obviously you're talking luxury when you need like $100,000 a month budget, you know what I'm saying?
For
like
a child.
You don't need that, or just even for one person, just as like if there was like the ex-spouse, whatever, just for her to have $100,000 a month, I'm just like, yo, what are you buying each month?
It's a come up.
To need $100,000, you know what I mean? Am I going on 10 vacations a month? Like, what's going on here?
All right, so I get into lots of trouble when I pipe up because I was raised by Shirley and Bob, and this is how they raised me.
Oh, Bob and Shirley.
I know. I love them. You know, I mean, it's all about the milk and the cow. I don't think there's a lot of pressure on men to get married because we are much more sexually free society. In general, if you kind of look historically, well, the 70s were pretty wild. But I mean,
do tell,
Yacht Rock. I was in grade school. Hello. But what I'm saying is, as a society, are we? And it's a question really for the doctor too. Are we really at a point where, you know, sex and marriage don't have to go together anymore? Obviously, it used to be part of a song that rhymed.
See, the problem with that, majority of guys nowadays are not getting any play. Majority of guys aren't seeing any action, right? And women are gearing towards the top 10 percentile, right? The guys that are 6 feet making six figures, and that's who women want, right? So there's guys out here that can't even get access to sex. Even if they wanted to get married, they don't even have access to these types of women. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, because all the women want luxury, and all they want is like the hypergamy, whatever mindset, right? Yeah. So everyone's looking for like the best option.
The best option, yeah.
So yeah, of course, it's going to just lead to like less marriages because more women are going to see more like these men are unfit because they don't see like To be honest, honestly, I think it's a little too much Instagram influence because you see so much of luxury and whatnot, these huge houses and on the beaches, going on vacations, all that kind of stuff. And then more women see that. They're like, oh, that's what I need, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not getting married unless he can give me that or I can have that kind of lifestyle. So less women are going to be inclined to go towards marriage until they reach those certain
Yeah, we talk about the matrix effect where people are caught in the matrix in regards to lavish lifestyles and Instagram memes and things of that nature. When in reality, that's not life, right? Life is about hard work, commitment, and putting in the time into something to make it grow, right? And a lot of women just simply don't want to do that.
No, but the thing is, you have options when you're young and cute and you think this way, right? But then when you get older and you don't have as many options as you did when you were younger, then you're just like, oh shoot, now I'm going to go back trail to the guy that actually was good for me, but he's taken a long time ago. And now I'm stuck trying to figure out who can I marry and still have kids with when you're
But the problem is there's going to be some guy out there that's going to take her back. Regardless of her dogging the guy years ago, didn't really want him. And now she's been riding the CC and ultimately used up. Now there's going to be some simp that's going to put a ring on her when she has, 100 bodies on her, right? Which, is unfortunate. And that's why guys need to have an abundance mindset when they're dating so that they don't settle for these types of women that ultimately settled for them.
But we've gotten away from that. Guys just don't feel the pressure anymore.
Well, and Kennedy, women have been encouraged to give it up, as Harris talks about, freely with the rise of feminism, have like a man. So they're doing this, and they're not making the guy step up to put a ring on it.
No, and they're sacrificing the integrity of the relationship. I think a lot of times, and maybe that sounds judgmental, I also blame Tinder because I think there are a lot of dudes that don't want to get married because if you're not married, it's not cheating. Am I wrong?
You're right.
All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and end this video. I mean, at the end, completely disagree with her in regards to Tinder. Tinder is really designed for women. There's not a lot of guys that get a lot of swipes, go on many dates, get many matches because you're judged solely on your appearance. Obviously there's a bio. Are you 6 feet? How much money you make? Things of that nature. And women are solely judging you based on that. So to even get onto the date, you have to meet these prerequisites from a woman's perspective to even have access to sex, right? So you have a lot of women nowadays are thinking like men because they're looking to disqualify men based off of these trivial things, right? When in reality, men just want a woman that's going to be compliant and ultimately, make them a sandwich kind of thing, right? So anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and end this video. If you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time.
Bye, guys.